Have you ever taken a class, whether it be in high school or college, where you study the material, you do the homework, you pass the tests, you pass the final exam, but months or even years later, you forget everything about that class? You forget even the basics and need a refresher on everything. I swear, I'm not the only one this happened to, right? The devastating thing is, I've realized that this has basically been my experience for every class until age 21. For example, I took differential equations in college, and to this day, I have no idea what a differential equation is. I don't know how to solve them. I wouldn't even be able to recognize them, and most importantly, I don't know their real world applications. Similarly, I remember taking an ethics class and reading the work of Immanuel Kant, but to this day, I have no idea what Kant's philosophy was. This didn't happen to just my general education classes. It was happening to my own core classes in my major. I was and still am a computer science major. And over the summer, I've been looking at some of my old material. How is it that I pass discrete structures, but when I look at some old material about it, I come across terms like power set, and I have no idea what that is. It's like I'm coming across this for the first time. And it's not even this phenomenon is not just applicable to my general education classes or my college and major classes, even high school classes. I think I came across this worksheet I had completed in high school about World War One, where it was asking which countries liked which other countries, which countries disliked which countries, why did World War One start, and to this day I have no idea why it started. I was looking at my answers to some of the questions, and it's like someone else wrote the answers for me. I don't even recognize my own work. So all of this has made me realize that I just want to start from the beginning. I want to start from the very basic levels of education, learn things once, learn it forever, and slowly work my way up. And eventually become, I guess, sort of a polymath in everything. Because after all, becoming a polymath has never been easier than today, since we live in the information age and we can learn anything online. So, okay, what does any of this have to do with Spanish exactly? So, for the longest time, I've been theorizing about how do you master domains? Not just mastering domains, but master relevant domains and master them efficiently. I've been theorizing about this question for a long time, but then I had this light bulb moment where I feel like the solution on how to master domains is right in front of me, or has been in front of me the entire time. And it comes down to education. For example, if I want to reach a native level in Spanish, if I want to know everything that a native Spanish speaker knows, then that means that I have to imitate everything that the native Spanish speaker has done. And what is something that speakers of any language spend 6 hours a day at every day until they're 18 years old? It's going to school and taking classes in a wide range of subjects. So then I realized if you want to master a domain, you have to pass classes in that domain, because that's exactly what native speakers have done. For example, if I wanted to master the domain of biology in Spanish, then theoretically I would take simple biology classes meant for maybe 4th, 5th, or 6th graders, gradually work my way up to high school level classes. And if I passed all those classes, then theoretically I should have mastered the domain of biology. Because after all, I'm just doing what native speakers have done, and they've mastered those classes, haven't they? And in a similar way, if theoretically I wanted to master all relevant domains to life, then I would essentially have to simulate being in school, except in Spanish. Or except instead of learning Spanish, I'm learning everything except for Spanish. I'm learning biology, chemistry, math, history, all in that language. It's about homeschooling myself, since, of course, I'm learning on my own. So I was looking at homeschooling resources for Spanish homeschooling resources online, and I came across this website. It's called webdeldocente.com. I'll put the links in the description. What it is it's a free website, and what they have is worksheets that cover everything from ages 3, 4, and 5 all the way up to 6th grade. So, for example, this right here is everything from 1st to 6th grade. They have classes like math, communications, science, and so on. And for each page, let's say if I click on first grade science and environment, they have a wide way. I can't even speak. They have a list of worksheets that you can go through, and for each subject, there's about 40 or so worksheets, and these are all free. You can download them as PDFs and .doc files. So since let's say each subject is 40 worksheets, and there are 6 subjects, that means I would have to go through about 240 worksheets to complete all of first grade. And given that each worksheet is only a couple pages, 240 sounds like a lot, but it's really to master all of first grade by just doing 240 worksheets. It's really feasible to be able to do that. So this is what I've been doing. I've been going through these worksheets and completing them. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a way to mass download each of them at one time. Like, for example, if you click on a worksheet, there will be an option to download it as a doc or a PDF. I prefer downloading it as a doc so I can type my answers. But I don't think there's a way to like download, where was it? Download like this entire list at once. So what I did was I manually clicked on each page, like filled this entire vertical tab section, and I manually downloaded each one for all of first grade. So that was pretty tedious, but eventually I got it done. And I've been going through those. Like, for example, this one is on joints. It's important to go back to the basics and master basic vocabulary. You think that you know lots of basic words, but it's so important to go back and refresh them in your memory. And sometimes you might even learn new words. Like, for example, do you know that meme of Gru where he's explaining his plan and the plan has gone wrong? Well, the thing that, like the paper that he's drawing his plan on, I now know the name for that in Spanish. I didn't before. It's called el papelógrafo. And I'm so glad that I'm doing these worksheets, because you learn valuable words like that you never would have come across before. And it's so important to learn this vocabulary as well. So in order to answer like the worksheet, sometimes I'll either type the question because this is a Word document, or other times what I'll do is I'll use this feature in Microsoft Word where you can draw on the screen. If you go to the Draw tab up here and you click a Draw, then you can draw stuff. You can like draw your answer, or you can write your answer, because obviously I'm not going to print these out. That would be ridiculous in terms of printing expenses. And it's also, it's convenient to be able to follow the directions. Like if it says use circle with a blue circle. Yeah, circle with a blue circle. Then I can physically do that with my mouse. So it's a way of just kind of using your pencil in order to answer the questions. So I've been doing this so far, and I love it. It's an easy way of tracking my progress, and you know that you are progressing. It's because you can track it. Something I wanted to mention, though, I don't necessarily complete every aspect of the worksheets. For example, obviously, there's a math section. For every grade, there are math problems. And I'm not necessarily going to complete every single math problem. It doesn't really make sense because I already know, like 5 plus 3, 6 plus 2. I already know how to do that. But the point is to come across vocabulary. It's, I can't even speak. The point is, do you know how to say 2 plus 2 equals 4 in your language? Or if you're coming across this and you see a butterfly, you think, wait, how do you say butterfly again? Right, la mariposa. That's how you say it. It's more about coming across the vocabulary that you need to get it done, and not necessarily doing simple addition and arithmetic. Or like, how do you say domino? It says it right here. So I use this to test my vocabulary sometimes by just skimming through it and not necessarily doing the tedious math. So that's what I've been doing so far, and I love it. Okay, something I wanted to talk about is something else I've been doing, and that is reading War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. This book was written in 1897, and it's a like alien invasion fiction book. I love it so far. But the fact that it was written in 1897 made me, when I came across something in this book, I really thought that I was losing my sanity. I almost had to pinch myself to make sure that I wasn't in a dream. So imagine that you're reading a Spanish book, and instead of saying se veían, as in things were seen, instead of saying se veían, it says veíanse. It's a declarative sentence, and instead of saying él se acercó, it says él acercóse. It's so difficult for me to even say that because I've never come across it before. Instead of saying me parece que blah blah blah, it says paréceme que. Like, it's so bizarre. I really thought that I was losing my sanity when I came across this. I thought that I was forgetting basic Spanish conjugations. So I was looking around online. I was thinking, like, is this a translation error? Is this actually real? Because I've never come across it before. And I couldn't really find anything online about it. Maybe I just didn't know how to ask my question. But eventually I asked ChatGPT, and it said that it was a literary form of conjugation. Apparently it's used in older books, but not used in contemporary Spanish. It's so bizarre because I've never come across it before. I mean, I've come across future subjunctive more than I've come across this. So it goes to show that you should stay humble. There's always more things to learn out there. Okay, so secondly, or I guess thirdly, you could say, is this. Actually, no. Before I go to that, the way in which I'm reading War of the Worlds, it's reminiscent of my strategy that I'm using to watch Mandarin TV shows. So I'm reading it on my Kindle, and that means that you can press a word down to highlight it. So what I do is, if I'm starting at the top of the page, I'll read it straight through without using the dictionary. But whenever I come across a word that I don't know, then I'll highlight that word. And I've set a limit to a maximum of 5 highlights per page. So I read it from top to bottom without using the dictionary. I use the highlight feature of the Kindle to highlight the words that I don't know. Then once I get to the bottom of the page, then I go back and use my dictionary to look up those unknown words. And as I just said, I use a hard limit of a maximum of 5 words. For each page, I can only highlight 5 new words. And I'm not sure that the limit is really necessary, because I only really come across like 2 or 3 new words in every page. So that's a good sign. Okay, now additionally, something I've been doing is basically the exact same thing as my Mandarin strategy for looking at TV shows. So if you haven't seen the video from the video that I posted 2 videos ago, my Mandarin daily routine and current level, I talk about the strategy that I use for learning new vocabulary in Mandarin TV shows. I use a stopwatch. I downloaded the stopwatch online. What I do is I start the TV show at the same time that I press start on the stopwatch. And every single time that I don't understand something, I press the lap button. And I have this rule set up to where I can only press the lap button once within a 2-minute interval. So from 0 minutes to 2 minutes, I can only press it once. From 2 minutes to 4 minutes, I can only press it once, and so on, to prevent myself from getting overloaded. And eventually, when I get to the end of the show, I go back and then go to the times that I lapped. And I use that as an opportunity to look up those unknown words. And then when I'm done with all of that, I summarize it. I summarize what happened in the show in a Word document. So I've been doing basically the same strategy for Spanish. For example, I was going through, let me just make sure I'm on the right screen. Yes, I am. I was going through Criminal Spain. I started watching the show. I watched it a couple years ago, but I was rewatching it. And this strategy of going through the entire thing and summarizing it it really works well. And I'm trying to find a good show to do this strategy a lot on. But I've done the strategy for 3 episodes so far of this show, and it seems to be working. Seems to be working very well. Okay, so additionally, what else? Oh, there is grammar. So I've been going through some of the very basic grammar in Spanish. Again, you would be surprised at things that you learn. You think that you've mastered everything, but once you go back to the basics, you solidify these rules in your head. And if you're an advanced learner, if you're close to fluent or already fluent already, I really urge you to go back to the basics, because you'll solidify these rules in your head and you'll come across new things. It's very, very important. If you found this video helpful, a free way of getting other people to also find it helpful is by clicking the like button, because it will put this video in their homepages. And speaking of homepages, not all of my videos may show up on your homepage, so be sure to not only subscribe, but hit the bell icon as well to get notified when I upload. Thanks for watching.